Sophia thought she had finally found the one. The kind of love that made everything else fade away. Daniel was charming, kind, and knew exactly what to say to make her feel special. But behind his warm smile, was a secret so dark, so twisted, it was never meant to be uncovered. And the worst part? She wasn't supposed to find out. But she did. And when she did, it was already too late. They met in the most unexpected way, at a quiet little coffee shop on the corner of Fifth Avenue. Sophia had been there for hours, lost in a book, when he walked in. He ordered black coffee, no sugar, no cream, and as he turned to leave, their eyes met. It was one of those moments that didn't feel real. The kind that belonged in a movie. Daniel was unlike anyone she had ever met. He was thoughtful, always remembering the little things, how she hated the sound of ticking clocks, how she always hummed under her breath when she was nervous, how she loved thunderstorms but only when she could watch them from the safety of her apartment. Within weeks, they were inseparable. He made her feel seen, understood, adored. And when he told her he loved her, she believed it with every fiber of her being. But love makes you blind, doesn't it? Because looking back, she realized there were things that never made sense. Things she ignored. Like the way he never talked about his past. Or the fact that, no matter how close they got, he never introduced her to anyone from his life. No old friends. No family. Just Daniel, alone in his perfectly neat apartment, where everything had its place. And then, there was the locked drawer in his desk. She asked about it once, teasingly. Just boring paperwork, he said with a smile, brushing a kiss against her forehead. Nothing interesting. She let it go. Because she trusted him. Until the night she found the letter. It was a stupid accident. She had been searching for her scarf in his closet when she knocked over a shoebox. As she bent to pick it up, her fingers brushed against something behind it, a folded piece of paper, slightly yellowed, tucked away like it was meant to be forgotten. Her heart pounded as she pulled it out and unfolded it. The handwriting was delicate, careful, almost hesitant. Daniel, I know what you did. If she ever finds out, it's over. Sophia's breath caught in her throat. She read the words again. And again. Who wrote this? What was Daniel hiding? Before she could process it, she heard the front door unlock. Footsteps. Daniel was home. Her hands shook as she shoved the letter back behind the shoebox, forcing a smile as he walked in. He leaned down to kiss her cheek, his fingers brushing through her hair. Missed me? She nodded, pretending nothing was wrong. But inside, her mind was racing. That night, Sophia barely slept. The letter haunted her. Every time she closed her eyes, she saw the words over and over again. I know what you did. She needed to know more. So while Daniel slept beside her, his breathing slow and steady, she slipped out of bed and crept to his desk. The locked drawer. She hesitated, guilt twisting in her stomach. But then she thought about the letter. About the fact that she had been with this man for nearly a year, and suddenly, she wasn't sure if she knew him at all. Her hands trembled as she searched his desk for the key. It wasn't in the obvious places, but eventually, she found it, taped to the underside of the drawer. Her breath hitched as she turned the key and slid it open. Inside, there was a leather-bound journal. Beneath it, a stack of photographs. She picked up the first one, and her stomach dropped. A woman. Dark hair. Familiar features. But it wasn't her. No. It was someone else. Someone who looked eerily like her. Same wavy hair. Same smile. But something was off. Because in every picture, the woman wasn't just smiling. She was watching. Sophia flipped through the stack, her breath quickening. The last photo made her hands go ice cold. The woman, standing in the exact same coffee shop where she had met Daniel. Sitting at the exact same table. And behind her, Daniel. Watching her. Sophia's hands shook as she reached for the journal beneath the photos. She opened to a random page. The words inside sent a chill through her spine, asterisk. She reminds me of her. The way she laughs. The way she talks. I wonder if she'll leave me too. And then, buried beneath the journal, a newspaper clipping. Missing, local woman disappears without a trace. The date? Exactly 1 year before Sophia met Daniel. Sophia couldn't stay silent. The next morning, as they sat at the breakfast table, she forced herself to keep her voice steady. Daniel, who is she? For a moment, he didn't react. Just sipped his coffee. Then, slowly, he set the cup down and met her gaze. You weren't supposed to find that. Her blood turned to ice. He smiled, but it didn't reach his eyes, asterisk. You always ask so many questions, Sophia. What happened to her? She whispered. For a long moment, he just watched her. Then, he let out a soft sigh and said. She found out the truth. Sophia's heartbeat thundered in her ears. She pushed back her chair, ready to run, but Daniel's hand shot out, gripping her wrist. And now, so have you. Sophia yanked free, bolting for the door. Her hands fumbled with the lock, her breath coming in ragged gasps. She ran. But as she reached the street, Daniel's voice rang out behind her, smooth and calm, asterisk. Run all you want, Sophia. But you'll never leave me. Just like she never did. She didn't stop running. But the thought followed her, asterisk. If the last woman never left, then where was she? Sophia ran without looking back. Her heart pounded in her chest, her lungs burned, but she didn't stop. She turned corner after corner, moving through the dimly lit streets, desperate to put as much distance between herself and Daniel as possible. But no matter how far she ran, she couldn't shake his words. Run all you want, but you'll never leave me. She reached her apartment, slamming the door shut behind her. She locked it. Bolted it. Pressed her back against it as she struggled to catch her breath. The room was dark, silent except for the pounding in her ears. She grabbed her phone with shaking hands and dialed 911. The line rang once. Twice. Then, a click. 911, what's your emergency? She gasped, swallowing back the panic. My boyfriend, he's not who he says he is. I found something. A missing persons report. I think, she cut herself off, trying to slow her breathing. I think he did something to her. There was a pause on the other end. Ma'am, what's your location? 1435, Belmont Avenue, apartment 3C, she whispered. Okay, stay where you are. An officer is being dispatched to your location. Please hurry. She hung up, her hands trembling. She turned on every light in the apartment, double-checking every lock. For the first time in a year, she felt like she was seeing her own home differently. Every shadow felt like it was hiding something. Every creak in the floorboards made her flinch. She sat on the couch, knees pulled to her chest, staring at the door. Waiting. Watching. And then, asterisk. A soft knock. Her breath hitched. She didn't move. Another knock. Gentle. Rhythmic. Sophia. Her stomach twisted into a tight knot. No. No, no, no. He couldn't be here. Not already. Sophia, open the door. His voice was calm. Too calm. I just want to talk. She squeezed her eyes shut. Her phone. Where was her phone? She grabbed it off the couch and checked the time. 6 minutes since she called 911. Too soon. It was too soon for the police to be here. Go away, Daniel, she choked out, trying to keep her voice strong. A pause. Then, the handle rattled. Come on, sophomore. You're being dramatic. Her pulse thundered in her ears. She backed away from the door, gripping the phone so tightly her knuckles turned white. The police are coming, she said, forcing the words out. They'll be here any minute. Silence. Then, a low chuckle. Oh, Sophia. A soft click. Like a key turning in a lock. Her blood ran cold. The door handle twisted slowly, and the lock clicked open. Her heart stopped. No, she whispered. She had locked it. She was sure she had locked it. So how, asterisk. Daniel pushed the door open, stepping inside like he had all the time in the world. Her feet wouldn't move. She was frozen, trapped between the couch and the wall, her body refusing to react. You left so suddenly, he murmured, closing the door behind him. We didn't even get to finish our conversation. Get out. He ignored her, stepping closer. Slow. Unhurried. Like he knew she had nowhere to go. You know, Sophia. He tilted his head, studying her. I really thought we had something special. I said get out, she screamed. She grabbed the nearest thing she could find, a lamp, and hurled it at him. He ducked at the last second, the glass shattering against the wall. For a fraction of a second, his mask slipped. The cold, calculated expression vanished, replaced by something darker. Annoyance. Frustration. That wasn't very nice. Her legs finally obeyed her, and she bolted for the bedroom, slamming the door shut behind her. She locked it, praying, begging that this lock would hold. She shoved the dresser in front of the door, her hands trembling as she searched for something, anything, she could use as a weapon. Then, sirens. The distant sound of police sirens growing louder. Closer. She gasped out a sob of relief. On the other side of the door, there was a long silence. Then, a quiet sigh. Looks like you win this round, Sophia. And just like that, he was gone. By the time the police arrived, Daniel had disappeared. They searched the apartment, took her statement, and found the photos, the journal, and the missing persons report. But Daniel? It was like he had vanished into thin air, asterisk. We'll find him, the officer assured her. Guys like that, they always slip up eventually. But days turned into weeks. Weeks into months. And there was no sign of him, asterisk. Sophia moved to a new apartment, got a new number, even changed her locks twice. She never stayed in one place for too long, never let herself feel truly safe. But every so often, she swore she saw him. A glimpse of a familiar silhouette in a crowd. A dark figure watching from across the street. A shadow that disappeared the moment she turned her head. Her friends told her it was paranoia. That she was letting fear control her life. But one night, she found something. A letter. Sitting on her kitchen counter. Her hands shook as she unfolded it. Sophia. I told you, you'd never leave me. Her breath caught. The paper slipped from her fingers. Because scrawled at the bottom, in Daniel's perfect handwriting, was a single line. See you soon. For thrilling secrets, like and subscribe.